Well, welcome everybody on the call. This is the sprint kickoff meeting for the upcoming registration sprint. We're going to talk about what the goals for the sprint sorry are, and we need to give a high level explanation of some of the tickets that are in this sprint. If you go to the sprint page at in the chart, I've pasted the link to the sprint wiki page, and there you can find the link to the dashboard. I'll share that dashboard here.
Are you going to share your screen, Wycliffe?
Yes, I'm trying to open that. Can you see my my screen?
Yep, that's good.
Yeah, so we have a couple of tickets in this sprint. It's 14, and if you click on the work view, you should be able to see the several columns. That is the issues in the backlog. Typically, those are not ready for work. And then there are those in waiting for analysis and those that are in analysis. Typically, those are not ready for work. The tickets that are ready for work are the ones in the waiting for development column. And so typically, you should be picking tickets from that column and assign them yourself to them. So I'll quickly run through the tickets just to give you an idea of what you need to do. David or anyone else, if you feel you can chime in and say something about the ticket, please let me know.
Okay, great.
RA75 is about registering an address. This is maybe Mark or David, can you give more details about this?
Yeah, this is a ticket. It's actually in waiting for test now because Darius has actually completed the development. But the what he had done was added the ability to register a patient using an uploaded address hierarchy. So, for instance, to test this, we uploaded the Haiti address hierarchy to an instance, and are testing that we can register a patient, and the app would prompt us for the next level in the hierarchy.
Okay.
But this is in waiting for tests, so I don't think there's any more development that needs to be done in this ticket.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. RA473 is about supporting retrospective registration. The main idea behind this is being able to capture the date when actually the registration happened. Say in case a patient showed up and you took their details, but the system maybe was down and you had to enter the information the next day. We would like to capture the date when actually that registration happened, and also presumably record an encounter to have occurred on that date when the registration happened, not when the data entry happened. So I don't think I can add any more to that. But the idea here is that we record an encounter alongside, and that's why we store the information about the actual registration date.
Yeah, so one quick note about this ticket. This ticket's also in waiting for test 2. Mark had completed development on it. But based on discussions that we've had recently, we did want to make one change in how the user experience is for adding a retrospective registration, so I actually added an additional ticket to make that change. So we'll see that when we go through the other ready for development tickets.
Okay, great. 472. A registration of unknown patient. Again, this one is about being able to create a record for someone, say when they come through to the ER, and say they're unconscious, but you can't take their name, etc. So the idea is you only want to capture their gender, and then the other information can be populated later on. So, do you want to add anything?
No, except for the fact that Mark has this in development right now.
Okay. And 553. This is right now in the reference application. The patient identifiers are auto-generated and assigned by the system. There's no way for a user to enter a pre-existing identifier. So this ticket is about addressing that. Again, if you read through the description, there should be more details, but that's the main idea behind it.
Yeah, and with this ticket, in addition to adding retrospective registration, the idea is that adding a pre-existing identifier should not impede the normal flow. So the user should have to take an additional step to add a pre-existing identifier. However, if they just want the system to generate an identifier for them, as in the normal case, they shouldn't have to, tab anything else, like tab through anything. They shouldn't have to click any buttons. So this option should be added so that it's an extra step and it does not impede the normal flow where the system is generating an identifier.
Okay. And 501, this has a little dependence on the one for recording the unknown patient, in that once you record an unknown patient and you later on create a full record for them with all the details, you should be able to merge the existing unknown record and with the actual record for the patient, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I would just also add that you should also be able to merge two records that are not, even if one of them is an unknown, you should be able to merge two known records also when this is complete.
Okay. And here the thing is that the way this merge will work, from my understanding, is that if you're merging the unknown with with a full record, in theory, the user shouldn't be picking which is the preferred one. It's automatic that the unknown is the not preferred, right?
That's correct.
So such steps, I mean, that should be automatic.
That's correct.
Also, if you look farther on the ticket, I think one of the main points there is that it's already been done in the EMR module, so this ticket is mainly a matter of moving that code into the core, from EMR into core apps, I believe.
Okay. RF502, this is about adding a little more tests around registration, just to make sure that we have something that is in place that ensures that some of the basic things that happen and that they're not broken with ensuing comments. One of them is being able to register a patient. One also is to be able to register an unknown patient and baby registration, but I understand we might be ignoring baby registration for now. right? Again, these are not unit tests. These are going to be like UI tests, just to check functionality. So I understand there might be already a test for registering a patient. So if something has already been done, you probably don't have to repeat it. But yeah, I think Mark, you mentioned that you committed something and you thought it should have broken the registration test. Yeah, maybe someone might need to look into why, if there's anything dubious about the test.
Yeah, I don't remember 100%, but I think it's worth looking. Just it might be to make sure it's running properly and stuff like that.
Okay. So you need, whoever works on this ticket will need to, look at that test closer, just to make sure that things are right. Translations. So I believe this is to support other languages, but what I don't understand is this basically, I think out of the box, the reference application doesn't come with like things like Haitian Creole. Is this about adding those to the core supported languages, or
we started using Transifex to manage our translations, so it's basically a matter of adding this module into Transifex. We have a couple of modules already in there. I think at least HTML entries in there. I forget. So there should be a link on the ticket as to how to go about getting the translations into Transifex, and then actually doing the translations is a separate step that, well, for somebody that can do it on the sprint, feel free, but it's mainly about getting it in there so it's easier for translators to translate them.
You're saying there's a module, or you added the module, you have to add a specific module to Transfix?
Yeah, basically you set it up so it automatically pushes up, it interacts with GitHub, and when I think nightly, it pulls in any changes to the message.properties file from the GitHub repo for that project. So you basically have to go through the steps for the registration app.
It copies it and adds it to where?
It's like a UI for doing translations, so other people can log in and submit translations without having to actually modify the code.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm assuming those details are already on the ticket on how to address this, because I don't think the description mentions that. It's in the acceptance criteria, to have things happen a certain way.
If you look at the comments, see if it's in the comments. Yeah, so we might want to update the description based on those comments, but that should say what they need to do.
These are the steps they need to follow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. I'll move probably that to the description.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Wycliffe.
Move that. I'll keep that open. RA500, make sure similar name searching during registration works out of the box. So this ticket, I believe there is already suggestions happening. Like for instance, when you're registering a patient, there's already that functionality that it should check if there are similar matches or if there are exact matches, and it suggests them so that you can pick from an existing record instead of creating a new one. But I think the issue was that it's not working as expected, so whoever works on this ticket would need to figure out why on demo.openmrs.org or dev test why you're not able to get similar matches when you enter something that for sure should have a match. So there must be, you might be able to, I mean, it might be as simple as configuring phonetics module, or configuring the correct name matching algorithm. So before you do any coding, first just make sure that everything is set up well on dev test before trying to do any coding. RA70 again. What's the idea behind this one again?
So this is slightly different from the similar patient matching. So this would be after all the details are entered before the confirm. If you're entering a patient that has the exact same information as another patient that's already on the system, it will tell you. The system will suggest that exact patient exists, and you'll have to click, register anyways to register, or you can click to go to that patient.
Okay, so RA500, the previous one, is to do the similar match. That is when you've just entered the demographics, and
Right.
RA70, this should be happening when you're before you submit. Basically, you've entered everything, but before you click submit, it checks for an exact match.
That's correct.
All right. And the key thing here is that the confirm button should be inactive until this AJAX call returns, and it has no match. If there is no match, that's when the confirm button gets activated. Otherwise, it stays disabled. If whether there are matches or not, that button has to be enabled. And RA195. So for this ticket, we want to change how one selects the gender of a patient, because right now we're using radio buttons, but the way the keyboard navigation is set up, apparently it doesn't work for radio buttons out of the box. Like, you have to go back and forth for it, before you can select the gender. So the idea is that we want to change it from radio buttons to a drop down, so that if someone just types F on the keyboard, it automatically it automatically selects female, and if they type M, it selects male. So this is about improving the UI so that the keyboard navigation works for radio buttons when you're selecting gender. Encounter information should be passed into the after created URL. Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, self-explanatory. When in the configuration of the registration app, you can specify the after created URL. Right now, it only passes in the patient ID, but right now, since we're going to support retrospective data entry, or retrospective patient registration, it means, since an encounter is getting created in the process, it means we need to pass on that encounter to the to the next whatever, if you pass, because the after created URL is going to some other probably controller, so you might need to get access to the encounter that was created when the patient was getting recorded. So I think this is straightforward. Uh, 490. When the address entered is too long, the format of the confirmation page is affected. here the point is that when you're done entering all the patient's data, when you're registering one, you get a confirmation page that lists all the details, but apparently if the address is too long, that is, I guess, if one of the words is too long, and not really, if it has no spaces in it, it kind of, overflows of the page of the.
Right. Actually, I think the issue with this was if there is, even if there are spaces, what it does when it pushes the address down, the label doesn't stay at the top of the address. The label shows up at the bottom of the address, and it's confusing as to which part of the information is the address.
Okay, so it flows. It doesn't go off, but it just, the vertical alignment is off, right?
Yeah, the label shows up. It says right here, the label shows up as the last line instead of the first. That's really the issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be as simple as fixing the vertical alignment.
Yeah.
And RA557, remove retrospective registration option from main flow.
So this is the one that I mentioned earlier. The retrospective option has already been entered, and that's in test right now. But this is to move that, so it's moved out of the main workflow, so that the user will have to click on a button specifically to enter a retrospective registration. And if they are entering a live registration, they won't need to do anything. So this is just to take that out of the main workflow and to add it as a separate option.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. RA55, adding admin UI for apps. So just to give a little background about this, we want to let admins to be able to configure certain aspects of when they're registering a patient, and even other things, not just registration. Like for instance, you want an admin to to change the way an app behaves. Right now, there's no way a user can do that. It's only a developer that can, by providing the JSON for an app's configuration. So the idea here is that we want to provide a way for admins to go in and change the JSON for an app, and ideally, this we might need to add a new table where to store the manifest of an app. So once an app gets loaded, we store that the database, and then an admin can go in and change, like for instance, the after created URL for the registration app, and another module might come along and register a controller to that URL and do something else, like maybe print an ID card after patient is registered. So yeah, the idea is just to be able to let admins reconfigure apps manifests through the UI without developer intervention. So I think we need to add some more details to this ticket. I think I'll do that because it doesn't really mention here what needs to be done. Like we need to add a new table and a service in the app framework module, and then provide the UI in the reference application module. So I'll update the ticket and add that information. So that's all for the tickets. This sprint actually, according to the wiki page, started yesterday. So whoever is participating, feel free to add your name and pick up tickets. You can always find me on IRC or comment on the ticket, and me or anyone, David or Mark or Daria, should be able to respond. I guess I'll be doing most of the code review. Mark, Darius, you guys can also, participate in the code reviews if you want. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
Nope.
David is dead.
No, I would just say if anyone has any questions, just feel free to like Wycliffe said, either just reach out to us directly or just put a comment in the ticket and one of us will get back to you.
Mark, do you have anything to say?
I think Mark had to leave actually.
Oh, you already left?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess if no one has anything to say, we can end the hangout.
All right.
And
Thanks, Wycliffe.
You're welcome. Thanks for attending.
Okay.
All right. See you in cyberspace, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.